problem.
Yeah, many.
Agriculture in Indonesia is a story of contrasts. On the one hand, there are vast plantations of palm oil owned by big conglomerates, and on the other, there are thousands of small farmers cultivating tiny plots of land, smaller than even a football field. So apart from costs going up because of higher fuel prices and higher fertilizer prices, small Indonesian farmers are struggling with deep problems which existed even before this recent food crisis.
From the point of view of the farmer, how would they like things to change then, if they are not getting the benefits? What are the fundamental problems that need to be addressed?
I think the first problem is because they don't have land. They don't have any land, enough land to do agriculture, to do farming. In Java, it's a central production of rice. In Indonesia, it's produced more than 60% of the rice.
And we should point out that Indonesia is actually one of the biggest producers of rice in the world. It's just that it's consumed here in Indonesia, and that's why we don't see a lot of it in the export market.
Actually, we only imported only 5 or 6% every year from the total we consume. But the farmer, the life farmer here is very hard, and one of the biggest problem is I think the land conversion, because Java is quite produce very much rice in terms of the production, but also the most under pressure in terms of the housing. Residential area, also the industrial, and if you see in this village, there will be, you will see the exploration of oil. This area is very rich in the term of natural resources, but all the farmer here is landless, so they just they have to rent, and or some of them landless and only become the labor force.
What about the argument, though, that some of the things you're mentioning now, problems that have always existed, they've been around for a very long time. Those are sort of fundamental things that NGOs like API are trying to address. Has anything changed, though?
Not much. I mean, in the past few years, before the crisis, the government still protect the farmer in terms of they have a lot of subsidy in price of the pesticide and also fertilizer. After the crisis coming, the government eliminate most of the trade barrier like tariff and also the subsidy. So the rice import is coming here and make the farmer life here is more difficult, because and then the price forced to goes down because the supply is bigger.
Does this mean that API is against having an open market? You want to have a protected market?
Yeah.
But is that tenable in the long term? In the long term, it can't go on being like that. The government cannot continually subsidize.
Yeah, I think it's a part of the job of the government is to subsidize, to help the farmer, because if you see here the village, the land is become under pressure. I mean, they have to compete with the other sector, the industrial, the oil exploration, the services sector, that give more profitable income, more profitable business. So in this situation, if they don't protect by the government, they will lose their job. And who will feed our people? Indonesia have 220 million people, and almost of them eat rice. And we have to produce more to push our production, to be self-reliant on rice. It's very vulnerable to depend on the very volatile, rice market. So we have to thank the farmer, because they still keep their job going on in the agriculture. Because for the long term, they already subsidize all the urban community to provide the cheaper price of rice.
Do you think it's so? So you're saying that the agricultural community has already been, so to say, subsidizing urban development.
Yeah.
And now it's time for maybe urban development to pay back?
Yeah, this is a role of the government, how to, intervention the market. Because food is something very basic. It's a very basic. And you cannot rely on other country to feed your people. So this is easy for government to, produce a more friendly farmer policy rather than because the price, the cost to ignoring the agriculture sector is very expensive. It will very expensive. If you remember that two of our president is fall because the rice price is increasing very sharp.
But subsidies over 10, 20, 30 years, is that realistic? Because in the end, you as the ordinary person, the farmers as ordinary people, they will also end up paying the price for that subsidy.
Yeah, I think if you see that the budget for the subsidy, for not subsidy, but for all agriculture sector in Indonesia, only 1%. So it's a very small.
Is that what needs to change? That the landless need to be given land, which of course is a danger. It's a radical thought.
It is, but I know this is a long term, and it will, it's very radical, and we don't expect that. We just hope that small things. We don't expect that the urban community will harm because of our high price rise. So I think there's a balance between the producer interest and also the consumer interest. What we've seen for the long time, the producer always suffer because of the policy of the low price in rice.
What is the average income of a farmer at API?
This is the assumption if they harvesting twice a year of rice. So they plan first season is rice and then other non-rice like corn or soybean or vegetable, and then the third season is back to the rice again. If they produce twice harvest a year, they can get $50 around $50 per month. So compared to the lowest wage of the labor, if they be a labor, it's
in the city.
In the city, no, not in the city. In here.
Oh, in here,
because
right? Yes.
It's $100